All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Throwdown. My name is Dr. Fish, and I'll be your op for this evening. I am showing the wrong match. That is not our match that we have for you tonight to start. We are going to be starting in Legacy Series in the 1 seed. We have Epic Migo versus Agent PWE. And we have I have my lovely casters with me with Heat Shock and NJO. Go ahead and take it away, guys.
I'm happy to be here. Good to be back on Thursday Throwdown. And Epic Mingo is going with the DH Druid, Rogue Warlock. PWE is going for Demon Hunter, Paladin, Rogue, and Warrior. Should be fun. I'm hoping we get to see some slower Warrior strategies. That's always our favorite on this show. What are your thoughts here, Al?
I mean, I think the Warrior in PWE's lineup is definitely going to sort of create interesting situation for Epic Mingo here. Just because Warrior is one of the decks that can actually beat Garrote Rogue. And
Yes, it can. And it throws me for a loop a little bit to see Warrior and Paladin paired together like this, but they do share, outside of the Rogue matchup, which is very polarizing compared to what you queue, they do share strength in the Druid and Demon Hunter. So I think that PWE is in a great spot here if he bans the Warlock, which I do expect. Oh, he did. Did he? Are the bans in? Oh, I don't know what they are. Let me try and predict. What's Mingo banning here?
I think he bans the Warrior, honestly.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Warrior ban. Paladin. Okay, that makes sense. It means the potentially worried about his Demon Hunter, and that means he maybe wants to play Aggro Druid as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see what Druid he opts for, just because.
Oh, maybe it means he's gonna play Alignment, because that one is also terrible into Paladin, with the fact that Librams can become free after Alignment and really break the mana.
Alignment Druid is decent into Garrote Rogue, and that's probably his best shot at getting Druid for, just because Aggro Druid is going to be unfavored into Warrior, into Rogue, and into like half of the DH decks out there.
Yeah, Epic Mingo is clearly going for strong against Rogue here with his decks, so it'll be a question of if the Druid can get through and if the Rogue can get through, I think, for both players.
Yeah, it might end up coming down to just a Rogue mirror to decide the series.
We could also see PWE's Demon Hunter potentially struggle, I think, because if he wants to go for like a glide deck, could potentially struggle if alignment comes down before quest completion. And then he could also go for Death Rattles. I think that would make the most sense maybe, but it's a bit of a weird choice. And it really runs into problems if the Druid is an aggressive one.
Yeah, I think one thing we're sort of seeing now, especially with Druid, is there's often a lot of these sort of rock, paper, scissors situations where it's if you bring alignment, you'll beat these decks. If you bring aggro, you'll beat these decks. But there's these super polarized if you get it wrong, then you're looking into like 20% matchups into Fell Demon Hunter with aggro, or you're looking into like 20% matchups into, not aggro Demon Hunter, but Death Rattle Demon Hunter.
Right. It definitely feels in Conquest, at least, that closed list Druid guessing wrong is potentially just set losing. But I honestly think Death Rattle Demon Hunter is absolutely on the table here for both players. We could see anything come out of that class. It'll be interesting.
One interesting deck is the sort of Fell Death Rattle Demon Hunter, which it's less good at doing the Death Rattle Demon Hunter thing, so it'll struggle more against something like Alignment Druid, but it's a lot better in the Demon Hunter mirror.
Right. Yeah. So now that we've kind of talked about what the classes can do, what do you think we're going to see opening up here?
Honestly, I don't know that. See Rogue.
You think Rogue? It's certainly got the high perceived power level, but it also runs the risk of not getting points on the board right away, because I don't think it's particularly strong here for either player. I think Demon Hunter, potentially a strong opener. The Warrior, potentially from PWE. Makes sense to me.
PWE went for Rogue, and Epic Mingo went for the Demon Hunter. And it looks like this is Quest Demon Hunter. I assume we're going to see the lifesteal stuff in there.
So this tells me that he is focusing on beating that Rogue a little bit. But PWE, a good Rogue player himself, I've run into him on ladder a few times, and I think he's more than capable of navigating this appropriately. Field contact in the mulligan is always nice. having some spectating troubles on my end, but trying to get that working through.
Mingo making the interesting choice to not play the quest on turn 1 with Demon Hunter.
Unfortunately, I can't see his hand. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm good now. I got it to work. Thank you, though.
Drop in the quest on turn. Yeah, just opting for a hero power on turn 1.
Going for the damage, exactly. This is a little bit interesting.
This is
going for Shroud.
Probably one of the better hands you could ask for with Garrote.
I think so. My concern with playing the Shroud on pre-glide is that it makes your post-glide hands harder to get the kill. But it does, with the Octobot in hand, I think it does make a lot of sense here. Hoping there's not a glide immediately on turn 4. And in that case, you can potentially have a pretty good contact turn and get through some of your deck.
Looks like we're not going to see a glide this turn.
There is no glide in hand for the Demon Hunter. And that's a problem, because now PW is going to get probably at least 6 cards cycled or something like that.
I feel like I would have liked
3, 4. Yeah, I think he can get 6, maybe 5. We'll see what he does here.
I might have wanted to see the studies just to try and hit that glide here.
I would have liked to see that as well. Maybe not realizing the problem that the situation poses.
Here, see PWE play a bunch of cards and draw a bunch of cards.
I like Encounter's flow. I think it can make your Garrotes, it discounts your Garrotes, which is important for the combo turn. In this matchup, I don't know if we have the tradable spell damage. Obviously, Cram Session, a great pickup. I think I want to see that Cult Neophyte. Confirmed, we do have a tradable spell damage.
Yeah, we are just going to end it off with that Cult Neophyte.
This means that if we discount, we could potentially have play both contacts and still win the game with a Guild Trader, Garrote, Cram Session kind of line at the end.
It also, just having the 2 spell damage there means you can, in theory, use your Odd Merchants for either additional card draw or, if needed, removal. Just because you can guaranteed get 28 with
right.
Or 32. Just I'm used to Arcanist, which is only 28. Guild Trader's a full 32 if you just play it out.
Arcanist is 30, right? Am I wrong? I could have sworn it was 30.
28 because you miss it on the first. You miss it on the initial Garrotes. You just get it on the bleeds.
Isn't that 32?
Or it's 4 from the initial 2 Garrotes, and then 24 from the bleeds because they all have +2 spell damage. It's 28 total with Arcanist.
All right, I think we're thinking of different things.
Maybe,
but we're going to move on because
right.
There's a lot of things happening with this Demon Hunter that we need to think about. Still no glide, which is probably tilting in this situation. But we are starting to draw pretty quickly here and get the quest done. Is it time to double jump and just hit this glide right now? I think it'd be pretty good if we were to go for that.
We wouldn't be able to play.
We have the studies isn't discounted, so we can't play that.
Be able to play the studies into it.
Talented Arcanist I-Beam just to clear out some hand space.
Yeah, just opening up that hand space. I mean, we honestly might see here, instead of trying to disrupt, the Demon Hunter just trying to race the Rogue to combo.
I don't think that works very well, because Rogue pretty reliably has lethal on 8 if you play it properly. And I think that's absolutely the case with this hand. So we have to be really careful if you were to go that way. I think I want to see the secret passage here. I think that's the best way to clear out this deck. You could go for the Shroud of Concealment first, maybe. The downside would be if you hit any draw cards, you would probably burn stuff.
Yeah, we still have both Swindles in deck, so I guess that would be the punish if we go for Shroud and then Passage, as we wouldn't be able to play those. But other than that, there should be any other generation in the deck. So,
and you can't afford to burn the second Garrote here, so
yeah,
just not an option. Are we? I actually like Secret Passage at this point. If we hit like 2 playable cards, we're pretty thrilled, I think, for what that does. And the Passage is just getting worse at this point.
I think we've waited a little too long to go for the Passage at this point. I think we'd run into
perhaps
issues. I think I should drop the Log Merchant. I don't necessarily know. I think maybe just...
Oh, no glide.
Hand space. We can Studies. I don't know glide.
No more draw. Selena's not terrible, but it's really not what we want.
I think it's significantly better than the other two.
You can maybe hit the contact, but it's not super likely, right?
Yeah, but I think you don't need another I-Beam or Philosophy, so I think you take the Stelina here. Okay,
I don't know what this Philosophy does. I really don't. I think we need to trade this Guild Trader and get the quest done. It's tough. We don't always hit a draw here, but we can try, right?
Yeah, I think the Demon Hunter is just...
Okay, we're going Tempo Morgs.
I think we're just playing too slow.
I don't think this is a real line because there are some matchups where 4/6s really get people. The deck with Brain Freeze is not one of them, and we still have 2 of those in the deck. I think we'll just see the Secret Passage here into probably hitting a Brain Freeze.
We played in Cantor's Flow, so the Secret Passage costs 0. I was wondering why it was costing 0 off the top. The Brain Freezes also cost 0.
We find the Brain Freezes.
We have 1 space in hand, so we can trade the Guild Trader and not...
Another happy guildie.
Okay, I think we do want to get that out of our hand. So we'd probably Plunder and then double Brain Freeze. There's no way you want the Plunderer, right? It's not helping you. I could even see that throwing the Prep is correct because we have plenty of mana with the Octobot in hand.
I mean, I guess the Plunder is just a 0 mana draw card after we play the Octobot next turn, but I definitely think we drop the Prep here.
Yeah, well, we have to play... we don't have to play the Prep. We wouldn't mill, but I think the Prep is a better card in our deck than the Plunderer in the hand. Because we have this cram session, right? So there's always lethal. So I don't know why we need the extra card.
I guess in theory, playing the Plunderer and keeping it in hand is essentially the same thing, because it's either a piece of card draw or it's a card out of the deck.
And we can see Glide has never shown up, so it's game over anyway. Assuming, we'll see if PWE can execute the lethal correctly here. Should not be a problem, especially if Epic does the luxury of clearing his board for him, making sure there's no board space concerns. I don't know if there's a Pen Flinger in this deck, but sometimes that's potentially an issue. But this is quite clearly game over. We can actually do this. Can do this without even playing the field contact.
Yeah,
this is an ironic thing.
This is confirmed lethal as long as
we have to move. We have to start playing cards.
Yes,
we don't want to. We don't want to miss the rope out here on the Garrotes.
I think there potentially is a punish if he doesn't get it this turn.
Right.
That Epic Mingo could actually have lethal next turn.
Stream Nerves apparently slowing PWE down, making sure he doesn't want to rush into something stupid for all of us to see, perhaps.
I don't know. I'm not an expert on this rogue deck, but this is definitely lethal.
Now we're doing weird things.
Yeah. I
Another happy guilty.
don't know.
This is bizarre.
I
Okay.
think probably just realizing there wasn't enough time to go for it. Wasn't confident that he had it there.
I guess we'll see if Glide comes in to really ruin his day.
Well, isn't this...
It did not.
Is this lethal?
Is this lethal? It's not, right?
It's not, because the Moarg is too small, I believe. Because
there's not even enough mana. We can only play one spell.
well, you could go Il'gynoth, Moarg, Arcanist, then Fellscream would be what was it, 18, and then if Moarg survived, Eyebeam would be 6, and that would be lethal. But because
it's
the
not enough
Moarg will
health,
die to the Fellscream blast,
Yeah.
it'll only do 3 with the Eyebeam, so we are 3 off.
Yeah, you can't play the one at the end because
Yeah.
obviously if there was a way to outcast the Eyebeam, there would be enough mana, but there's not. We could just see Il'gynoth come down and just push damage that we can. I don't hate that. Are we trading for a Glide? We hit the
There's a
glide,
Glide.
but it's not outcast.
Oh, well, there's a Fellscream. Oh, wait, but yeah, Kurtrus.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's playing the Kurtrus. And was playing the Eyebeam. That was definitely not the correct turn. I'm going to go out and say that one. Worse than the Mist Lethal by quite a bit.
I think once we realized we didn't have lethal, we needed to then try and dig for that Glide. Because we should have been dead last turn, but we're definitely always dead this turn.
Right. I think we saw a lot of mistakes in this game, honestly, for the caliber that I know these players to be.
And I think,
so.
As we were saying, it could be a bit of stream nerves, especially with decks like this. I think there's honestly the risk of, like, if you screw something up and it's super obvious that you screwed something up. You know, these are very technically intricate decks, even if
they are.
These players are making them look fairly easy. And it's like, if you screw something up on it in front of an entire audience and, you know, we call you out for it, then it looks bad. And I sympathize with the nerves there, but I do think definitely could have been some better execution. I think for the Demon Hunter, just a bit better matchup recognition, knowing what needed to be done, and then for PWE, just a little more confidence on that turn 8 lethal.
Right. It did seem like Demon Hunter didn't really have a picture or a macro understanding of what he was supposed to do when there was no Glide. And Eyebeam on the 2-1 wasn't it, right? If you, I could honestly understand the Il'gynoth line. If you put him to how much you put him to 6 or something, maybe the field contact draws too much or something. That might be an option. I don't know. Make a big board and maybe some chip damage from the board connects too. PWE just messaged me if he missed turn 8 lethal. For those of you who don't know, we played each other 3 times last night on ladder. So it's quite the connection we have.
Well, so we're going to see Demon Hunter versus Rogue, but this is a different Demon Hunter deck and a different Rogue deck. So this should be interesting. Epic Mingo has gone for the weapon Rogue, which
I think is going to work out poorly into the Death Rattle Demon Hunter. Assuming that there's 2 drops found. If you don't hit the 2-drop with Death Rattle Demon Hunter, it pretty much falls apart.
I expect that weapon rogue probably in there because it can do well in the rogue mirror, and I would expect if there's an alignment druid, Mingo was maybe going for trying to take out that Garrote rogue.
Right. I think the Death Rattle is really a heads-up pick here, though, from PWE. And recognizing recognizing how this goes, that the Rogue is going to potentially do better into the Demon Hunter, but he's not really trying to beat up Rogue, perhaps.
So
trying
which
to more beat up the Druid.
do you play here?
I think I prefer the Razor Boar, because you're going to see a coin weapon most of the time. If he swings into this, that's fine, but you want to play the Far Watch Post when they want to draw, right? And they don't really want to be drawing right now.
I think, though, if you're going in blind and you don't know what sort of rogue you're up against, do you
that's
play
true.
Watch
We
Post
obviously,
too?
I can see it's Weapon Rogue.
Yeah.
That's so true. No, great point. I think that this is obviously the better one, though, against the more aggressive rogue deck, or the more combo heavy rogue deck, right? Because you want to push that early chip damage so you can kill them with a Raging Fell Screamer before they combo you on turn 8.
Interested by the prep Wicked Stab.
So I think what he's going for here is the he wants to play this Silverleaf on his basic weapon and draw twice with it, but I don't think you have time to do that against Death Rattles.
And if we're gonna coin Secret Passage to try and dig for a weapon this turn, why didn't we just coin prep Secret Passage last turn?
I think he wanted to kill the 3/2, but I think it was wrong to do so because the 3/2 is always going to pull a minion, so it's not really getting rid of any pressure. And now we could have had a self-sharpening sword up before the Secret Passage, right?
Yeah.
And that's the downside here. You still probably equip the weapon, as weak of a weapon as it is, because the Swindle is not going to find one.
Do you ever swing first and then play the weapon so you get full value out of your Silverleaf? We have a cutting class back in our hand, though. Might have been better to get the attack to try and make that cheaper, but...
I think you play the Secret Passage for weapon buffs with this Watch Post on the board, because the Secret Passage will draw you cards that don't cost more. So we're not even going to play this cutting class right now. I think I prefer the taunts, but this is fine. Perfectly reasonable play here.
I guess this is, in theory, just one more power on board compared to the Renowned Performer. If you just figure your opponent's probably not going to kill the Renowned Performer, and you don't really have a way to kill it yourself.
Is able to unlock the Watch Post and make sure that his cards cost the appropriate amount. Honestly, the Extortion is a pretty... Oh, but here's another one. And you can equip the weapon, too, and just keep going on his face.
I also think instead of playing the Swindle there, we probably were supposed to just trade the Guild Trader, because Swindle's only drawing us one card.
Right.
And it's...
You could have drawn a potentially a weapon buff, right?
Yeah. Although I guess the flip side is we get Swindle out of our deck doing it this way.
That's true. It's not the best of cards.
But we did actually draw Deadly Poison off the Swindle, so if we had hit that off the Guild Trader cycle, we would have been able to play it last turn.
Mm-hmm. I think you can pretty much be safe in the fact that this board isn't going anywhere and just play the Watch Post. If there's not another Extortion here, it really screws up the Rogue's turn because he has to swing a weapon into it. Not going for it. He must have decided that he needed the hero power here, is all I can think of.
Yeah, I guess the breakpoint I can see is that if your opponent's able to, I guess, answer the Ectoplasm but not the Peddler, you now still have lethal.
Well, he needs to hit a Cloak of Shadows any way you slice this.
None of those cards
does not find it.
Yeah.
And not a huge shock. I think Death Rattle Hunter playing minions is a good way to kill Weapon Rogue, especially when they don't draw the infinite weapon on turn 3.
Yes. Yeah, going into this final match. Oh, we're going to get to see the Warrior. Exciting.
Well, the warrior actually has potentially a problem because of the weapon rogue, right? He doesn't want to face fucking rogue.
Maybe.
Unless maybe he had the foresight to put in tradable oozes. Wouldn't be unreasonable. I was running into PWE. I know he's playing ladder yesterday, and there were no tradable oozes in that particular list.
Well, what sort of warrior are we expecting? Big control quest.
He was playing control on ladder, so I think it'll be something
I
with a
want
brawl in it.
control.
I see a commencement.
Yeah.
Oh, big.
Oh boy,
Big
we're gonna
boy.
see some big warrior action. Now, as the resident expert on this deck, I think we keep commencement.
I think that's a wise call. That's what I'm gonna say.
And I think once you have the commencement, realistically, the rest of your mulligan doesn't really matter.
Well, I think he's assuming it's going to get hit with a glide, and he'd rather not have commencement when it's going to get thrown away anyway. Maybe find a bulwark or something in the early game. Found athletic studies, that's pretty good early game. No, Kargath is obviously great, but in my experience in this matchup, well, in Control Warrior as a matchup, they find enough damage if given enough time, right? 10 armor might buy a turn, but it's not going to fix the problems with the Demon Hunter late game doing 70 damage to your face.
That's
They find all the combo pieces.
Advantages that Big Warrior has over Control Warrior in this matchup, and similarly against Garrote Rogue, Big Warrior does a little better just because you can actually put on pressure, and like Troublemaker on turn 7 ends the game really quickly.
I'm going to go with the counterpoint that Rogue has lethal on turn 8 pretty consistently, and it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of 8 drops in your deck.
Against Warrior, it's a little less consistently because you have things like Rancor and Bulwark that can put a wrench in the plan of the Rogue if you're able to get over some of those breakpoints armor-wise or get up a Bulwark.
When you're under no pressure, you can do kind of silly things. I feel with
Pleasure doing business.
the Rogue. I did like 57 damage last night on turn 8. Just by being, because I could save my Augmerk, so I didn't have to play them.
Yeah, and the newer list running Guild Trader,
Right.
Instead of Kazakus, definitely changed that. I know the sort of recent stats have said it's become Rogue favored now, or at least
I'm
lot.
quite unhappy to see the trade on the armor game there. I felt like it was actually pretty good. What are your thoughts?
I would agree, and I'd also honestly be concerned about drawing into our big minions. We already have both Troublemakers in hand. I don't know what other minions we're running. Rattlegore would be the other one you'd want to pull with this commencement, or with this grunt, but if we're not running that many other big minions, drawing too many cards or cycling too much through the deck can actually run into the issue of, like, you play commencement and pull a grunt that isn't summoning anything.
I'd like to draw attention to the fact that he chose to play the Spectral Sight rather than trading the Persistent Peddler there to get the last tick of that quest.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, sure, playing Corsair Cash does not hit the Bulwark, unfortunately. And this hand is very susceptible to glide at this point because we have too many cards. Does not hit it. Again, Epic is going to feel bad about these games afterwards and his inability to find a glide, I think.
Yes.
Pleasure doing business.
You have to be careful not to know the quest here. How do we do that? We have to play a card and then play the Spectral Sight.
We have to play 2 cards, don't we?
And the coin. Yeah, we have to coin the Spectral Sight and play another card.
Well, you better play the other card before we play the...
Right.
Spectral Sight.
You
Yeah,
can
I think
play
we
the
have to-
Sigil. I think Sigil makes the most sense as just a burn. We don't really... Well, we could build the Il'gynoth with that line, so maybe not. Throwing away a Philosophy? That doesn't really work.
Yeah, we have a Morgan hand. I think
I think the I-Beam. Okay.
as for the
Fellscream Blast instead. That's fine. What are we... Oh, okay. Making sure that the Spectral Sight is not an outcast. That works quite well here.
that prevents us from milling next turn. Makes sense.
I think I would have preferred to outcast the Spectral Sight and just get the extra card, but maybe it's fine. I'm not super experienced on the Demon Hunter as I am with other things.
Now it's the warrior really needs to try and put on that pressure.
Exactly. We're gonna
Drawing
probably
that
see this
raffle-
6-2 trade.
Oh,
I
We can see
don't
what the
know.
commencement rolls first. If it's something that's truly indestructible as a taunt, then we can maybe go ahead and ignore the Kirtuous and push the 6.
So the issue PWE might have is there are lists out there that only run double Troublemaker and Rattledore as the finishers.
Oh no.
And we have all three of those in our hands right now.
That would be unfortunate.
Because some lists have cut the Scrapyard Colossi.
We could actually just clear the board then at this point.
Well, there's no way for Epic Mingo to know that there isn't.
No,
going.
he was probably terrified of what this Cowardly Grunt has in store.
Yeah.
We have to say we can't play the other Fellscream Blast though. We need that to kill him.
I think this makes sense. We play the I-Beam, then we glide our hand back to get discounts on Il'gynoth and hopefully get some draw. Another glide. I guess
All right.
the interesting thing here is the second glide, because it's outcast, would be counterproductive because it would put those threats back in the deck for PW.
For once, I think that's not normally the case, but yeah. Probably gonna see Troublemaker. We have to address the Molarg in some capacity, but not playing a Troublemaker seems wrong. I don't think you want to give the too much time here. Do we trade the 2-4 or just swing the weapon into it and hope for 3-3 hits it?
I think personally I'd be down to take the 1 and 4, but
I think the 1 and 4 isn't the end of the world. You can die if you leave the Moarg up for sure.
to be fair, you can also die even if you kill the Molarg.
You can. It seems unlikely.
Yeah, it's definitely less likely, but yeah, goes for that 1 and 4.
Okay, we killed it on the second try, luckily.
I see.
This is one of those situations where we might be dead anyways, if there's a
You could
more
play
draw.
the Il'gynoth and glide, maybe. Probably do the double jump first and see what it has.
Doing business.
We're trading. We're just kind of looking at stuff. So I think the Fellscream Blast was not the appropriate card to throw away on that turn, and it's really coming back in full force here because now there's some questions about the maximum damage that the Demon Hunter can do, right?
Demons? Time grows short.
It'll have to be an I-Beam, which is a little less devastating.
Oh wait, yeah, I was going to say there is that Chaos Leech in there, and that
Yeah, that's pretty good. We can't really play it though here.
definitely. I think we're supposed to trade the Guild Trader there.
Well, it's free when we draw it later, so I think so. And I think we're kind of seeing the warrior could really use an extra 8 health here, or 6 health, I guess. I think it would maybe make the difference. to be above 30. The double Moarg, assuming there's 2 of them found, the second one. So that would be, with the extra 2, so it would be 28 damage, right? Which is exactly how much the warrior has with hero power. It's important to play the sword and board for that reason, I think. Because the 28 is an important break point with this Chaos Leech.
You take Shopkeep and trade it and hope that you draw Bulwark.
I like that. Okay,
Also
we think we have
Kargath.
time in this game to play Kargath Prime. Not sure I agree with that take entirely, but
I think we want a 10-10 off of our commencement and not a 6-2.
oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, we're up to 30. So Moarg is not lethal. We need another spell damage or another damage. Okay,
Well, I don't know what other cards are in deck for Epic.
I think there's an I-beam still. I could be wrong.
If there is an I-beam still in deck, or some
We just
sort
have
of
to
like
jam
card,
everything except the Guild Trader, right?
I think you jam the Guild Trader.
You think we play it? We have enough.
And then you just glide, and then the I-beam should be lethal when you draw it. There is a I-beam in there. Yeah, we just jam everything, play the Chaos Leech,
Yeah.
then glide, or I guess we can glide.
Chaos Leech is outcast right now. I kind of want to play it because it does extra damage. It may
Yeah.
not be outcast with the wrong hand. I'm not sure if there's any 3 damage cards left. 3 mana cards left.
Not many cards left. Time grows short.
Okay,
Okay,
there's-
we found it. Oh, but we can't.
we can't play the Chaos Leech anymore. Yeah, that
That's
was
brutal.
So we had to glide the Arcanist back in the deck so it was free, right? That was the critical mistake on that turn because we couldn't afford to pay 2 mana for it.
Does it? I know it keeps the discount when you trade it. Does it keep the discount when it's glid as well?
Yeah, well, every time you draw the card, it's discounted by 2. So it would have been 0 if you draw it again.
Yeah, that's unique to tradable cards, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
other cards don't.
other
keep the
cards don't
discount.
do that.
But
They
it's-
keep their status.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they had changed it so that the tradable cards only kept it when they were traded and not when they were glid. But I
Mhm.
could be wrong on that. I think that was said to be a bug, but I don't know if it got fixed.
I think Epic will want to go back and take another look at his Demon Hunter play there because the way that resources was used was maybe not optimal in a lot of ways, and there was some room for improvement.
Agent, hello.
But well done by PWE. I think playing pretty tight throughout there, although
Except for the missed lethal in game 1.
the Miss Lethal
you
playing
know.
a bit safe, I would say. Definitely conservative in his lines, but conservative works when your opponent makes a slip up, right? And you can capitalize on that.
PWE, I do have to ask, were there any other big minions in the warrior, or were you just hoping that grunt didn't get killed?
There was the other grunt, and that's it.
That was
When you
that was
drew-
my impression as well when you weren't playing those commencements.
When you drew Rattlegore on 9, I visibly shuddered, although you can't see that.
I also grimaced a little bit.
Mhm.
It kind of messed up the plan a little bit.
Mhm.
I'll be honest. See, that last game, the plan was to draw Bulwark, and then that didn't happen. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll kill him with minions, and then I drew all of them, and I'm like, oh. But then
Well, you just kill him anyways. Easy.
I don't really know what happened on his end, but I guess it worked out for me.
Right. I think he threw his the hit 3 minions away just as he needed a throwaway card in order to not burn his quest reward
Mhm.
on turn 5 or 6, and he threw away
Yep.
the deal 1 to 3 enemies, which was not the appropriate call in that case because he ended up needing to heal, and then he didn't have the a clean way to use his mana to kill you at the end. He was 1 mana off lethal, and
At the end,
at the end he was 1 mana off.
I counted it. And I thought the max damage you could do was 28 or 29, and I was at 30.
Well, he had a chaos leech, which you obviously couldn't.
Oh,
see.
he had a chaos leech.
So,
okay. No, I was definitely dead then. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that would have killed me for sure.
He also made the mistake of not. He couldn't play the tradable minion just for 2 mana. He needed to draw it off of the glide as part of that to kill you because he couldn't. The mana limitations were too limited. He didn't have a free spell damage at the end or free spell to deal damage at the end.
Right.
Well, congratulations on the victory, and this is.
Congrats!
Yes, you're not. Actually, you are sort of playing for playoff.
Yeah, they're playing
right
for a playoff
now.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to catch the Golden Wisps and get the bye, but getting the win here against the team that you're playing against for playoffs definitely puts your team in a good position.
Yeah. Stay true to my prediction from Hearth Center that we would knock the Cult from second out of playoff contention with a clean sweep. So this was the first step in doing so.
Yeah, and you did it with some style too. I think Death Rattle Demon Hunter, not the one on everyone thinks of when they see the class, and Big Warrior, kind of a newer, more spicy take on it as well. Did you consider any different directions for those classes, or did that just seem the most logical to you here?
I looked at the numbers, and I basically the only thing that even made any sense was banning Warlock, which I didn't want to do, and then once you did that, I kind of had an idea of what he might play. So then I don't really like either of the decks, but I was kind of forced into it.
I thought it definitely seemed like you were going more into beating up Alignment Druid than perhaps targeting the Rogue with the way you did the DH and the Warrior, but it worked out.
And I was just hoping that I could high roll one of the Rogue games because I'm pretty sure I was unfavored into all of his decks with Rogue, if Rogue is actually unfavored into anything. But once that got through, I wasn't worried.
Right. I think that's the question. I think we've seen some success at the highest ranks with Lifesteal Demon Hunter targeting Rogue, but he didn't even draw Glide.
Yeah, when you don't
until
draw
the very
Glide,
last turn, and he roped out the chance to play it. So nothing he could do to disrupt you there.
Nope, disrupting himself is pretty much how it went down.
Well, yeah. Well, nice job. Thanks for being on stream today. I always appreciate having guests. So,
yes, thank you for casting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll see you in playoffs.
All right. Well, we have another exciting match coming up, I believe.
Yeah,
So.
we do. I was just making quick adjustments to one of the screens where I will pull up match 2 now. It is going to be Lotus Knight versus Donde in Hero
Battle of the
Series.
2 seeds.
Yes. Somehow
And,
Lotus is a 2 seed.
Well, when you have Justin in the 1, it makes a little more
Right.
sense.
Lotus actually did start in the 1 seed this season, but they switched spots because Justin went 6-2. And Lotus is more or less broken even, but I think he's going to take down Donde this week. Just my prediction based on the PR advantage that Lotus has is over 100. I could double check on the exact numbers, but I think it's about 150, which is hefty. It's not unassailable, but it's hefty. And we have some interesting classes here from Donde, I'd like to say, and I admire him for that being on stream. No Warlock and no Rogue, probably the 2 powerhouses of the meta.
Yeah.
Instead, going for Druid Hunter Mage against Lotus Knight, who has the Demon Hunter Druid Mage Rogue, and Donde has the Paladin.
I will say, I really hope Donde bans Rogue here. Otherwise, we might be seeing 2 3-0s on stream.
Right. I think you have some questions about Mage and Paladin don't really have effective answers for the class. And then you're relying on Hunter or Druid. Face Hunter isn't really the solution, and Druid's alignment is shaky at best. So I think we're going to see the Rogue ban, but that's not to say that the Druid isn't a problem for him either. If it's an aggressive one, potentially.
I think Donde should go with Quest Hunter here.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a hot take, but I think that's
I think that makes sense if
you Hunter option.
If you expect the Druid to be a more aggressive one, which in the context of a Paladin, and well, you could go if Mage is being left up from Lotus. We have to figure out what Lotus wants to ban, right? I think it's the Paladin, even with the Mage. Your Mage and Rogue, probably one of them can beat Paladin. You've got Rogue and Demon Hunter for Mage. Maybe the Mage is a little scary for you, unless you want to play a slow Druid. Hunter, you could play Aggro Druid, World Kick Rogue, Fel DH your options.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Fel DH here, although it's hard to say. It's still a lot of that sort of rock, paper, scissors of like, if you guess wrong, it can completely throw you off. Like if Donde brings Quest Hunter and then it's Anacondra Druid, you've suddenly run into a super unfavored matchup. And you're still very favored into the Mage, but then you have an answer to Anacondra Druid. Do you have your own aggressive Druid? Well, then that's losing to Demon Hunter and Mage. Or do you have Paladin? And then what's getting banned? It's an interesting situation all around. And that's one of the things that I've really, in a lot of ways, liked and hated about this current meta, is there's a lot of work you can do in prep of figuring out all of the different possibilities.
Right, and I think Druid and Hunter are especially hard to get a good grasp on because of how polarizing the different archetypes are. Like, Quest and Face Hunter have vastly different matchup spreads. Outside of beating Mage is the only thing they share. And Druid and both of the Druids have vastly different matchup spreads as well. So I think there's a lot on the line for Lotus to make the correct reads here and bring the correct answers for them. Because if you try and bring Fel DH and like you just try to beat up the token Druid, and then it's a slow one, and then it beats up your Mage and your Rogue. It's not like Fel DH is going to do anything about that, right? So there's a little bit of a risk involved there in figuring things out. If you bring Death Rattle, you have a much better answer to that alignment Druid, but then you're potentially relying on like a Druid Mirror or Mage to beat the aggro. Especially since the Mage ban is on the table. Who knows? It's really kind of a gamble here.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And I think this, I don't know who's going to favor it, just in terms of the class lineups and such. I don't know.
Well, I think having Rogue inherently puts you at a lead because we know what Donde is banning, right?
Yes.
That's the one certainty we have in this world right now, is knowing what Donde is going to ban is the Rogue. So then we can kind of just, Lotus has the flexibility in what he wants to get rid of and what he feels comfortable with.
We've got the two constants. We know the Rogue's getting banned, and we know the Mages are Quest, because you're never bringing something that isn't Quest Mage here.
Well, okay, hang on a second. There's a lot of Mage decks.
I was saying, what about Ping Mage?
There's no way you're putting Ping Mage.
I know.
You'll be laughing.
But come on. Nah,
Ping Mage, there's some real merit to the deck against Hunter and Druid, but I think the Mage and Paladin matchups are too atrocious to consider.
They're so bad. Oh my gosh.
Potentially, one thing you could do is you could bring Spell Mage as Lotus Knight without the quest, and that gives you a pretty huge advantage in the mirror. And that enables that Demon Hunter to be more flexible. If you can deal with the Mage mirror, then the Demon Hunter can deal with something else, potentially.
Yeah, potentially for sure. And I know that the Pain Mage versus Quest Mage matchup is so atrocious, because I know you were kind enough to come watch me ladder, and my last game of the night, the last game of that stream was Ping Mage, and I was like, I'll pull it out, and I queued into a Quest Mage, and it was miserable.
Right.
So, to be fair, if we expect that slow druid, we could bring Elemental Mage.
I mean,
Then when they play alignment, we make a bunch of 8/8s.
I had
Yeah, I know. I think playing mage minions is very effective against druid. And that maybe that opens up the Fel DH a little more, right? Because if you have something that just stomps the slower druid deck, then that Fel DH has the luxury of beating up like a hunter and mage more effectively in an aggro druid. I think Lotus maybe not the player to go for that necessarily. I think he plays it a little more standard, especially we can see that with his classes, with the rogue and the demon hunter. And those are not what we see from Donde.
And it's always hard to sort of bring those wonky decks in these situations. Especially if you're Lotus Knight and you're going into this saying, I'm the higher PR player, I've got Rogue, I should be in a favored position here, and if I bring a wonky deck and get punished for it, that somehow feels and looks worse than if you just bring the best 4 decks and get wrecked on those.
Right. I'm not too familiar with what these teams have at stake here.
nothing.
At Diamond,
Well, at Diamond is currently number 1.
fairly comfortably sitting at number 1. Boulder Jams is sitting at number 5. So at Diamond, almost, are they death in for playoffs?
No, not yet. I don't think anyone's locked yet. They'll probably be locked by the last week.
Yeah. Well, how many teams make playoffs?
6. So top 2 have buys.
3.
So they can comfortably almost lock a bye in the next 2 weeks.
Well, the team in 7th place right now, okay, looks like they cannot pass at Diamond if I'm doing my math correctly.
Oh.
So they should be for sure in for playoffs, but
really
not for sure in versus bye.
Yeah, see, I haven't done any of the math.
Yeah, so there's still some stakes for at Diamond.
Gotcha. Yeah, they just
Boulder Jams is in a bit more of a tenuous position in that if the teams below them have a really good week and they have a bad week, especially playing against.
Yeah, this season. The season's so
wait. There's more weeks in Hero.
No, there's more weeks. Yeah. We still have like.
There's one more after this, right?
Every other series, this is the final week.
2 more weeks left.
Two more.
So
Diamond can pretty much lock it up this week, honestly.
Yeah.
137. That's a big lead over. Yeah. Whatever 8th place is right now.
Yeah. F2L with 9 points on the week barely passes them, and Diamond, their team hasn't even played a match yet. And F2L's almost finished the week at this point. But yeah, I mean Boulder Jams just needs to keep playing well. The parity with I think it's so interesting how the records aren't always indicative of of which team is where in the standings in Hero. You have 4 and 4 teams who were sitting like 2nd place, 4th place at the beginning of the week. It's very interesting.
I think that's something we're seeing in not just in Hero but in other series as well. Is there's
teams are getting a lot of points and losses.
Get huge point weeks. Yeah. There's teams that get a lot of points when they lose, and there's teams that sort of are having close weeks but are close wins every week.
Gotcha.
And
then there's Diamond's team that's just beating everyone.
Yeah, then there's Diamond's team that just wins and gets a lot of points.
I think it's one of the most exciting things is NPH and Black Series is looking like they're going to sneak into playoffs, and they have a losing record.
I saw
not something you see that often, but the top 3 teams have dominated so hard over the others that it kind of looks like there's that 4th spot is up for grabs.
6-1, 5-2, and 5-2 for the top 3. Yeah.
I mean, depending for the Clowns could end up, it could be 3 6-2s at the top.
Essentially, it really could. Yeah. Yeah, Pro is Pro and Legacy coming to the final week. It's exciting.
Mhm.
Like we just saw a match that has a lot of implication because Agent had to pretty much, like, obviously it's not like mandatory to win, but him winning helps his team so much, and getting a sweep, denying those points
Mhm.
for Cult Legacy. Yeah, got lots of good storylines in every series. Hero, it's difficult because Hero's sitting with 2 weeks left, while the other two are wrapped. While these other two, while the three or I think every other series is wrapping up this week.
Mhm.
Besides Hero,
There's the tension in Hero hasn't built up to its maximum yet.
yeah, not quite yet.
Which is I nice for people like me because I can focus on the final week in one series at a time. I'm not worried about making playoffs with all my team. But
yeah,
I think it's also amazing that every team in Hero has at least 3 wins.
yeah.
How
I
often
think
do you see
that's
that,
awesome.
right?
Yeah, they have every team that's 3 and 5 are the bottom 4. They're all 3 and 5. That's really cool to see. I agree. And every team has above 11 points per week.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's something we were sort of talking about, that as sort of Hero series is a lot more niche compared to the other series. You know, we have vastly more teams in something like Legacy compared to Hero. And I think what that means is the teams in Hero are a little closer together in power level, because you don't have sort of brand new teams. You don't have 20 plus teams all trying to find players. Instead, it's a bit more refined in terms of the teams and the players that are playing.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about Hero series is that all of the one seeds have played each other. At this point, it's kind of fun because we know each other, and we have to mind game what they're going to do based on what they brought like the last time we played. Because man, I think I played Ron every season, right? I played
Yeah, you
Based,
play
I played
Ron,
Justin every
Justin,
season,
Neji.
Neji, right? Like so, it's kind of fun when you get to have
Agreed.
um,
I like that with
your
I like that with
every other month
I
match.
like that with the 5 seeds as well. From my end, playing now my 3rd season, I've seen the same people. I've seen them in Hero and sometimes also Legacy. It's really fun.
Right, that's kind of one of the cool little the sense of community you get with the smaller one conference kind of format. So, Super Chicken said Quest Hunter is worse into Rogue and Demon Hunter. Seems good. That's fair. I think the Rogue is getting banned, so it really only the Demon Hunter matters, right? I would just be
Quest
absolutely
Hunter
shocked
is
if
significantly worse into Rogue. I don't know if I agree that it's worse into Demon Hunter. I think it
yeah.
depends
Actually,
on the Demon Hunter.
I'll give to sub if Donde doesn't ban Rogue. That's I'll throw it on the line there because I think it's it would be shocking to me.
All right, one
with
sec. Let me
this
go
with this
message
lineup.
Donde and tell him to not.
Tell him, yeah, get a sub for the
Tell
No.
him, don't ban
Oh,
Rogue.
it's okay. Lotus and Donde Lotus is saying that Donde should play a Control Warrior game on ladder right now, just to mess with me sitting here after some things happened like earlier tonight where somebody's match got delayed 15 minutes by a ladder game. But that is the thing. If you're gonna play a match, if you have your scheduled time, please don't play a ladder game 2 minutes before.
Wait, your Control Warrior games only take 15 minutes? Man.
Yeah, dude. If it's less than 30, it's not a real game. What are you playing against? Face Hunter?
I don't know. No, I don't think it was Control Warrior. I think they were doing something. We don't know what happened, but that match happened and it was fine.
I was playing against Luna, who was playing some hand buff paladin on ladder a few nights ago, and I lost in fatigue because literally the last minion left was the Wind Fury guy, and I had nothing at that point to kill it. Oh man. I can't remember. I think Rattlegore was my last card or something. It was wild. The paladin was in taking fatigue damage, and I couldn't kill the 12-12 thing. But I love those games. The longer the better. I'm sure plenty of people disagree, but
There were some fun times back in the Dark Moon meta where there was a lot of Control Warrior, ETC, and otherwise on ladder, and there were a few of us who would all play it, and we knew the tech choices that each other had. So it'd be things like, oh, well, I know this person's running Silas, so I know not to play my Rattlegore when we hit the late game, or figuring out all the different ways to win in fatigue and the Control Warrior mirrors.
Yeah, my friend Ufric told me he was looking through his replays saved from watching me, because I usually don't play with Deck Tracker on ladder, but he was talking about how my win rate against THL people is atrocious because they know all the jank I get up to, and my win rate against GMs is actually positive on ladder, which is interesting. But when you know someone, it really
on the bright side,
makes it more interesting.
At least you got to bully Damon on his face, Hunter.
Oh my gosh.
It's always nice when you queue into a THL aggro player.
Good thing I don't queue into you all on ladder.
We've queued into each other once.
I did. No, I queued into you. I was on Face Hunter, I'm pretty sure, too.
You were on Face Hunter, and I was on, I think, Malagos Druid at
the
time.
You were?
I think it was...
And Ron and Neji sent their regards during that, because I was co-oping with Ron and Neji when that happened.
I believe it was like the only game I lost between like bronze.
I'm pretty sure I god curved on you too. It was absurd, but yeah, that's right. I have queued into you. That's it. And then I've hit a lot of wild THL players because the wild ladder is very, very small up at the top 500. Legend, so
I don't know. I don't hit anyone on Wild. I'm also not top 500 Legend in Wild.
I played Brian O'Brien 4 times last night. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. That's like top 150 to probably 200 Legend.
No, I think I came in at like 260 or something.
Okay,
Legend.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where we're hanging around the 300.
Gotcha. That's great.
I know.
I come into Legend. I'm in the 8,000s. So.
Oh yeah.
But that's just because I barely hit Legend and haven't really gotten a chance to climb on ladder when I do. But
I believe that anyone, like no matter how inexperienced they are, can just get to 2K. If you like rope every turn with a meta deck and think about like what your opponent can do and respect that.
Yeah.
Like you'll get there.
For sure. And that's really good advice. We're just waiting on bans from Lotus and Donde. While they're bantering in our chat.
I hope you've been enjoying the THL Thursday night podcast that we've been presenting to you guys.
We have. Oh my gosh, you beat me to it.
You want to go through and rank the hero teams? I'd say I think at Diamond is a golden legendary at this point.
Yeah, at Diamond, golden legendary, F2L bans, and our legendaries. Then
F2L's a golden epic.
No, we're not a golden epic. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Their 3 seed hasn't been doing too well. The rest of the teams.
Well, the 3 seed I don't even think is the 3 seed next week. So have fun down in the 4 again. Yeah, because with Robobson winning, you guys switch.
I guess.
Right. What do we? Let's call it now. What do we think Lotus is going to ban before it comes in?
Sure.
Place your bets, and I'll go last.
I'm saying Paladin.
What do you think, Dr. Fish?
I think I think it's Major Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with banning with Paladin is like if he's bringing a Rogue, then you can just don't care about the Paladin. But I guess that has good matchups into other things.
Well, I think your Rogue's getting banned if you're Lotus.
Oh, true. But yeah.
I'm going to go with the weird one. I'm going to guess Hunter.
Okay.
I think Lotus likes his mage, like a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I think the Demon Hunter is going to be Death Rattles.
Oh, it is.
What I think it's going to do.
Wow,
I think I could absolutely see
shocker.
that. I think Paladin is very likely.
So it's not. There's no. Neither of those are actually correct. They went with double Druid.
Oh, I have to give to sub. All right.
Who are you gifting the sub to?
I'll see what it does. Can I make it random?
Wait, 1 sec. Let me join the chat first.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Owl wants us up. I'd gift it to chicken.
You can gift it to chicken.
Okay. Well, I have to tell the guys that they can go.
I'm very interested by the lack of rogue ban. I think especially with
I'm excited to see what this has. This is
ban.
not what I was expecting, but I'm excited.
Awesome. Let's go. Think we've got Jammies with the 12-month resub with 11-month streak. Saying Lotus of Ohio, love it. And then we've got Heat Shot gifting the Super Chicken. Thank you both. We have players in match. I will pull that up.
All right.
We have Lotus first to spectate. Donde second to spectate. You guys can just take it away.
I would say this is the series where Q order actually does matter, but I think I was going to say
it matters tremendously. Both players throwing out Mage first. I think if a Rogue's being left up, it's probably one of the weaker options for both players, although maybe Lotus could have saved it for Paladin. Quest Mages from both sides, but we see Lotus has the flow, which is critical, and a Wand Thief as well to maybe make targeting and completing its quest a little easier. I would not be shocked by that as a keep. Knowing you have a flow, I think it
believe
makes
he
sense.
already mulliganed, and the flow came from...
Okay, you're correct.
I didn't see what was thrown away, but Donde also has that flow, so...
Right.
And, to be fair, Donde does have Golden Quest. He might be at an advantage here.
Yeah, the devs are secretly watching and making sure the bigger spender has the advantage in this match. Probably going to see pink come out. I think you could trade the fire sale, but it's better just to do that after the flow anyway and draw a discounted card. I don't really want the discount on my fire sale, so.
And the burn damage for ping's not necessarily insignificant.
Okay, well that's quite nice. Pick up flow into flow. I like that. I think we're seeing our turn 2 and 3 lining up here.
Looks like considering
Ignite, which is a little crazy to me, but yeah, going for the flows, just making sure he breaks the mana system as much as he can, and we are going to see a very explosive game one way or another because the decks are going to be free when this quest is done.
I expect we'll see an emote from at least one of the players when the second flow comes down. There we go.
So Ice Barrier, great opener. Gonna probably hang on to this Wand Thief until we can kill it with
we
something.
Start by cycling. Yeah, cycle the fire sale first, and then Ice Barrier, and could play the Primordial Studies this turn.
Well, there's no reason to get in a hurry, I don't think, here.
It's 0 mana, and we've already played the Arcane, so we just wait.
Throw out the Ignite, I guess. I think it's not really the best draw to get again, but probably better than brain freezing your Wand Thief right now. So.
Probably see Arcane Intellect.
Right, I think completing the Arcane portion of this quest should be quite easy with this hand, so you don't need to hang on to them.
Can play the Wand Thief and hope to find a fire spell, but then if we don't hit one, we have to kill it off with Rune Door. So instead, I think just Rune Door phase.
Ignite, great pickup.
Yep.
Pick up the fire part for this quest line and get that done. Decided still to hang on to the studies for now, which is fine. Probably wants a spell from Wand Thief. I think it's okay to just... You could maybe trade the fire sale first. I think that's pretty reasonable.
And definitely you want to play that Wand Thief because you need to play a Frost spell. And
Ooh, Phoenix, a great pickup in the Mage Mirror. Allows you to push a lot of damage really effectively. I think we picked the Wildfire. None of these are really good, but it's cheap.
The only one we can play. Yeah, and it lets us get the first 2 steps.
Well, at this point, the fire spells are not going to be what holds back the completion, I don't think. Potentially, though, with this Phoenix pickup, you have the option of going for a non-quest victory, which is really important. Because if you have the burn damage on the Phoenix turn with discounted burn spells, you can just do a ton of space damage directly.
I imagine Donde is probably going to draw 4 cards for 0 mana here. That seems pretty
I
good.
think so. The only thing that would stop me from doing that would be a flow, potentially. But there's no flow, so we're just going to keep drawing.
To brain freeze, though, so we can get
You could
next
do a
up
one
quest on this
thief
turn.
brain freeze or something, sure. Oh, we also found a Phoenix. That's fantastic.
I see him hovering the Geomancer. Okay. Picks the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a little better than Cobalt Geomancer.
Yes.
Just a little bit. And it does seem like, even though he has the mana disadvantage, the card advantage clearly goes to Donde here. And the quest advantage, because we can see that he actually can get another tick on this quest with the Frost Spell.
Also gets a Wildfire. But yeah, we play the Frost Spell, play that Wildfire.
And we were talking about Hero Power Mage being a possibility, and clearly this is what was meant, right? Did he get everything off? Just misses his hero power. Potentially important. He did pick up the Brain Freeze, though, so Donde is going to be able to complete the quest here. At worst case scenario, when the Phoenix wakes up.
Snap pick in that Refreshing Spring Water. I didn't get to see the other options, but I definitely...
It probably did. It's hard to imagine anything
I don't
working
disagree.
better here.
Okay, so now we get to draw 2 cards and gain a mana.
We're just drawing. Okay, so much for that card advantage Donde had, huh?
Yeah, and the double 0 mana cram session as well. Okay.
Pick up a Wand Thief. That's not actually... Well, we have the Brain Freeze. Mana Biscuit, interesting choice. Potentially makes the Phoenix turn better, so I like that part. Ice Barrier, sick. And when this Phoenix wakes up, we can play the quest reward and have a pretty good turn. Mana Biscuit, Hot Streak, and then just Fireball. It should be there. Could be a lethal here next turn from Lotus Knight. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's honestly one thing I was considering, whether it was better to play the Mana Biscuit that previous turn so we would have more mana.
Well, we have to play that Ice Barrier so we can get the quest done. I mean, we could have potentially drawn a discounted one off the top.
Mm-hmm.
But the mana works out much cleaner on that. We have the Mana Biscuit just to get the quest done. And then we have 2 mana to use with it, potentially for Ignite. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I assume it'll be Mana Biscuit, and then we can Hot Streak for the fire part, play quest reward, set that Fireball face.
And here Donde is going to try and set up his own lethal in case Lotus doesn't find it. But I think one of these players will be dying on at least before the end of 8 mana. I think pushing the Fireball makes sense because it's a little bit awkward. Okay, we got another discounted Fireball here. So probably Mana Biscuit, Hot Streak. Sure, we can get the mana back. That's fine. And these Fireballs are hitting for...
Yeah, this is 22 damage in hand right now, so I don't have Deck Tracker up. Do we have...
we need to hit a burn spell off this cram session. Pretty much anything will cut it.
I think we should play the second Fireball.
Although the 2 mana Ignite will not work. We need something other than the 2 mana Ignite.
Okay, you do have a second
Ring do it.
Yep. That's game.
Yep. The power of flow.
Also, the power of refreshing spring water.
As
Right.
as a wise
Both nerfed, by the way.
yeah, as a wise man once told me, "Yup, Flo."
Quite the card.
Yeah. Fireworks in game 1. Donde's mage is gone. What do you think he's coming back with? I'm guessing it's obviously the hunter, if it's especially face hunter.
Right. I think you just play hunter into mage.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine. Well, if the hunter's not for mage, what are you doing with it?
True.
I could see some sort of secret paladin, but hunter is going to be just a more consistent.
We still have no way to deal with this rogue, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. We've got a paladin and a hunter to pull it off.
Victory for the Forsaken. You shall pay for insolence.
Wolpertingers are pretty good. I think we were pretty happy to see those.
I'm a little sad we don't see Quest Hunter because I don't know how much you know about the Quest Hunter versus Quest Mage matchup, but according to the guide on Quest Hunter, you're supposed to coin hero power turn 1 if you're going second.
Keeping one Wolpertinger. Now, I think this hand is worse.
Yeah.
Rhino does nothing against mage. If the mage plays it properly. Sometimes mage is stupid and leaves something that it can eat. But I think Donde has the understanding or Lotus has the understanding with mage. I know it's one of his more pet decks that he's not going to let it just get run over by a Rhino and some free face damage come in. No Flow, though. Flow very important in the Hunter matchup particularly. And an Imprisoned Felmaw, devastating top deck.
Yeah, Felmaw's very, very strong against Mage in these early turns. Sort of just because the Hunter doesn't quite have enough pure burn to get there in this matchup. But if you're able to get some chip damage in these early turns, you can pretty often close out the game without.
I'm pretty sure Hunter can win this matchup unless Flow happens. Literally just by hero powering and never playing a minion. I think you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just coin hero power, like you'll get there like turn 8, right?
I know that's the theory with Quest Hunter is that it's a burn matchup and your hero power is twice as good, so you just hero power every single turn, never play a minion.
Right.
There's a little more burn in that deck compared to Face Hunter, because like you're not usually running arcane shots, you're running a few more minions in Face Hunter.
Right, but even aim shot and quick shot are pretty good. So, I think we'll see the Rinling's rifle come down pre-ice barrier. It's pretty good to get that off. Probably doesn't find any relevant secrets, but it's 4 damage for 4 mana, which is better than hero power.
Yeah, I do think we're entering that stage of the game where the Hunter really does want to just start hero powering every single turn.
Right. I think we'll see that next turn, but the damage is pretty good, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind the rifle, but I would definitely rather see a hero power as opposed to a Rhino next turn. Especially since
Barrier is a great pickup. Yeah, I don't think Rhino would make much sense at all. It doesn't really do any damage, which is the important thing.
Because I think at this point for the Hunter, this ice barrier has come down. You almost...
Is 4 damage worth... I think it's worth pushing, though, because... yeah, we see what the Demon Companion gets, but I think you're going to push face with the damage here and let him play another ice barrier. You missed 2, but the ice barrier is a 3 mana investment, which is pretty hefty. So I think it's probably worth it. You can see what tracking gives first, I guess.
The moment is upon us.
Barak is burn. Coin that out, it's not even insane. Pretty good board. You miss a hero power, which maybe is... Okay, well now we're definitely just pushing the face damage.
Yeah, because now we're going just completely even on face damage. Right. So there's no reason not to pop the barrier here. I think if we're not seeing those Leok effects, I would be very hesitant to push the damage here because I think you have enough burn to get there. without needing to push face damage with weapons and minions, but because we're going even, there's no real reason not to.
Goes for aim shot rather than hero power, mana efficiency.
I don't know how much I like that over hero power here. 'Cause I guess we're focusing more on mana efficiency as opposed to card efficiency. We have the Barrage, though.
Ooh, I don't like this. I think we could have gone for mana efficiency with the studies. Because killing the Leok would have been pretty good. I know obviously it's better to play your spells in order there, but I think you need the mana from Hot Streak more than anything right now, so I'd like to see that.
Probably not the Frost spell we're looking for to complete the quest here.
No. See, now if we picked a spell damage, yeah, our quest is potentially slower, but the Leok wouldn't have needed a ping and we'd had 2 mana there. So, Barak Kodobane, probably going to come out. You have to do the math now on whether the Felmaw is actually a benefit or if it's just better to hero power.
Yeah, I think coin hero power is definitely not crazy here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
I'd like to see the coin used. Donde disagrees, goes for the 2/2 taunt.
See, if we coined the hero power there, opponents at 12. We have 13 damage.
At this point, the flow is too late for the party for anything to really happen with the mage, because the burn spells are just too expensive to kill you from 30 here, even on turn 9. So,
yeah, I guess without coining the hero power, we're still a mana off lethal next turn, but
and this doesn't feel great, right?
Yeah, this is the situations for the mage where you're just playing to not die. And hope that somehow getting an extra turn is going to let you win.
I think we take the damage from Adorable. It's not going to do damage later, so we do it now. And this sets up a known lethal anyway with the double quick shot and the hero power, so you can pretty much do whatever you want here. Obviously, on paper, the ice barrier might keep you alive for some sort of combo.
I have proven myself. I demand answers.
Yeah, this is just going to be game over for the mage here.
Oh my god. The Mankrik. It triggers the ice barrier at the worst time.
Does that change things?
I think it does.
Yeah, now it's
not lethal anymore.
It's one-off lethal.
It doesn't matter. It's not like the hunter can die here with the freezing trap, but
it doesn't matter, but it's still funny.
Mankrik trolling this game.
Victory is in my grasp.
Coin Rhino. Just because we make a 5/5, sure.
Yeah, you're not giving your opponent any information by showing them there's rhinos in your deck. It doesn't really matter.
No, this needs to be the craziest cram session of all time here.
Hey, you can play Fire Sale. You can.
It wasn't really the burn cards we were looking for to deal 30 damage.
Yeah, you can clear the board, but that doesn't help. You're just getting quick shotted.
Right. I mean, you certainly know at least one of them's in hand from the Kodobane, right? So then the question is, what's that other card? Maybe you can pray it's not a burn card. If you can kill everything here.
I know, could be Scavenger's Ingenuity. You never know.
Rain freeze the little minion.
setting up for a flurry. That
Besides, he doesn't want
is...
to proc the freezing trap. It could be explosive, maybe, so that's why he's not swinging. Because he would know that the quick shot would kill him.
Well, if we
I don't know why we need to kill this
trap.
2-2. I don't think this did anything. Piercing shot? Oh yeah, piercing shot. It did something. Yeah, because he's thinking about piercing shot because with quick shot that would have been lethal, and now it doesn't work. So that was a good line. I like that.
I was gonna say if we attack with the 7/7 into the freezing trap, we can get another 3 spell damage next turn.
Right. Clearly, that would have been the difference. Yeah, man crit trolling, but not trolling hard enough to lose Face Hunter into Mage without flow. And I guess we'll see what comes out for the Hunter. Potentially a Demon Hunter from Lotus Knight would make sense, right? Yeah. As long as it's not Death Rattles. We saw the Druid ban, so I don't think it would be Death Rattles. Probably a slower Demon Hunter deck with healing. You could also play your Rogue, because Rogue is broken and should be fine into Face Hunter.
I think maybe you give the Demon Hunter, because the Demon Hunter...
Yeah, it's clearly spell DH, so I think it's the right call in this instance.
It's going to be a lot better, or not necessarily a lot, but it's going to be better into Hunter, and then your Rogue is significantly better into the Paladin. So this is a safer line, even if it might net you 1 less point, or net your opponent 1 more point, I should say. Mm-hmm. Big difference between 1 less and 1 more for your opponent.
Mulligan, I think Warsong Wrangler is pretty good against Demon Hunters generally. Wolpertinger, a great card in the Mulligan, and probably toss the other 2. I don't think Moonfang is going to be in this deck for Donde.
I really hope it is, but
he's going to have a hard time without it. But although Moarg actually kills the 4 health Moonfang, fun fact.
Interesting. Yeah, because however the layering works.
Double Moarg with any damage will work as well. The Moarg works to increase the damage that it takes, but any other type of spell damage won't. It's only Moarg that works on Moonfang.
Yeah, there's other interesting things with Moarg, because things like Shadow Blast won't do excess, because the Moarg's only affecting what happens to the minion,
makes sense,
not what happens to the spell itself.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm a proud Moonfang gamer too. I think
Moonfang.
If you look at how many times Moonfang has survived damage achievement, I think I'm the winner in THL. I could be wrong, but it's like 100.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know I got that achievement fairly recently playing Moonfang Druid on ladder. I don't know if you played any of that. It's like Anaconda.
Oh, it's Conjure with
take
Moonfang,
out the good cards, you put in Moonfang instead.
Yeah, why not? Actually, with the Wolpertinger staying alive, he has the option of Warsong Wrangler to buff it. Might not be total. Well, it looks like it's dying. So,
and I also think Mancrick on 3 against decks like Demon Hunter is definitely pretty good.
And not that you would have the option anyway to go for that. Not coining out the 1/1s here, saving this coin for something. I'm not sure what. Mag Therodon, what a pickup! Actually, that's just the nuts here, right? You're not in any danger of dying, and you have the Immolation Aura.
Yeah. It is.
I think you go for it.
It's a really fast clock if you're just getting a 12-12 beating down. I'd go for it. I am a Mag Therodon on 4 gamer.
We know Lotus is a pretty safe player generally, so I don't think he'll do it. But I really, really want him to. So that's my. Oh, this is a good line. I actually like this because it clears the board, and then you can just still do the Immo Aura, assuming the Rhino or the Moarg doesn't die. To like a coin Rhino, you can just do the line next turn, right?
And I don't think you respect the Moarg enough to quick shot it.
Quick shot it. Well, it ruins your curve so hard. I don't think you can. Like, you just have to, you're not going to be thinking about discounted immolation aura here, right? From the
you're not playing around Mag Therodon if you're done.
Yeah. It's like, I think the discount had to be on Mag Therodon or immolation aura for this to even happen this way, right? Because it's a 6-mana combo, even with the Moarg on the board.
Okay, but hear me out.
And now we have a 12/12 into the Rhino turn.
What if instead of Mag Therodon on turn 5, we were playing Shaman, and we went turn 1, Lightning Bloom, Mag Therodon, coin, Perpetual Flame, because it's nerfed now.
Remember, you guys don't understand, because we made that deck and I brought it to the last week of pro playoffs, and it was nuts.
Yeah, you were spectating me on ladder
banned.
playing that
The entire
deck.
Hyper Horizon team banned the deck.
Poor warlock.
Yeah. Well, I remember you spectated me on ladder, and like one of the 2 games you watched was the one where I got the turn 1 Mag Therodon against somebody.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, it also just beat like that version of Token Druid that existed in the meta. So there was another upside to it.
For sure.
But
speaking of Mag
it
Therodon,
clearly terrified the GMs.
there's a good chance this hunter is dead next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to kill the mag here. Like, you kind of have to... like, Demon Hunter dealing 4 damage isn't a huge surprise in any stretch of the imagination here, so... Obviously, you can't let the Mag Therodon connect. You could go tracking into the weapon and try and get a freezing trap, actually. That might be your best move. That's actually what I maybe would have gone for last turn instead of another 3/4. Because I think the freezing trap is the only way you would have stayed in the game.
Because, yeah, if you have to just run a Rhino into this...
Right. And getting rid of our own board is an idea.
Prevents the opponent from healing with...
Well, but they're at 28.
Yeah.
I don't know we needed to kill the 1/1s yet.
Your opponent, yeah.
We can see it would have been lethal if the Mag Therodon lives, of course. I think you just want the draw here, because as soon as you hit the Jace, the game is over.
I guess the concern here is your opponent has the second Rhino and just played a 1/1 into it. But the flip side is I'm at 28. I'm not losing this game anytime soon. And you have enough removal in hand to kill the Rhino. You just are trying to draw your Jace, as you were saying. Like, the Demon Hunter isn't in this game.
Yeah, we're going to set him to 10.
It's just how long until the Demon Hunter wins, the question.
Well, I think the answer is as soon as Jace is played, the game is over. Or as soon as Il'gynoth is drawn would also work. I mean, that would have to be till turn 9. You wouldn't be able to do it quite on turn 8. But either way, you probably got 2 turns left for this hunter to figure out a way to deal 30. And it's a good start with the Rhino for sure. Probably just take the Eye Beam. Yeah. Selena's not half bad. It's like actually kind of a threatening body when the hunter's at 10 that they might want to remove.
It's a 2-turn clock if you just hero power hit Stelina.
And you do have the tools here to just kill the kill this anyway.
For the Stelina. I think you take quick shot here. Although you could also...
That makes sense, because it's a draw as well as the damage. Although aim shots more. Yeah, I like this.
Okay, this is...
Just, get all the health back that the Rhino did.
Yeah, I guess it makes more sense than Moarg, because now your opponent can't kill Stelina with Wound Prey. Well, just quick shot again.
Yeah. The piercing shot on the Stalnos would actually deal a chunk. There is another the quick shot just came back to the play, so it didn't do anything to throw it out. Sometimes that happens. Probably taking the aim shot here. I don't know if you ever get there, but you have to try with the damage, right? The True Aim Crescent isn't gonna cut it.
Yeah, aim shot's the most damage out of these options. 3 mana for 5 versus 1 mana for 4. For 4 turns, assuming
there's
you live
not
that
4
long.
turns in this game.
There's most likely not 4 turns in this game.
I could be wrong. It could be Jay Silganoth bottom too, but even then, there's another school in the deck somewhere. So this Thalanos is probably going to get a card at some point as well.
I think you might have to aim shot the Selena here.
If you kill the 4/3, you actually get a lot of time left in the game to figure something out.
Piercing
shot is a great pickup, though. Yeah, I don't think you want to kill the Thalanos, is the thing. So maybe you just do it on the 4/3. I hope Donde did the math on this one. What's his damage next turn? He's got 5, 10, 15. He's going to be 4 off.
He's dead.
No, and by not killing the 4/3,
Yeah, I think he's
died.
just dead.
Yeah, if he killed the 4/3, he'd be alive here.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think even if you do kill that 4/3, I don't know if you're ever winning that game. I think
Yeah.
You're prolonging the inevitable, and maybe Donde just thinking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just concerned because I don't think there was an out to even get lethal, killing the Thalanos. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I don't think that there was. It could have been. Well, by leaving the Thalanos up, you have to hit the other piercing shot, right? That's like the only out I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 15 in hand, opponent was at 19. I guess if you drew like Windlings or something, you could set up a 2-turn there. So there were potential 2-turn setups, assuming the opponent doesn't draw any damage or healing. But,
Well, Paladin coming out from Donde makes a lot of sense, and this deck tends to just completely demolish Demon Hunter, so I think that
it's his only
something
deck.
would have to go terribly wrong here for Donde to lose.
Yeah. Oh, I put it the wrong way.
honestly, I wouldn't mind a full keep from Donde.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. The only downside is the Carriel Roam probably doesn't get to rush in anything, so maybe it's actually bad.
Well, I think if you coin it out turn 3, Demon Hunter's not usually killing it, and then it attacks, and you can play Blessing of Authority turn 4.
Yeah, you could do that. It could die, but it's pretty unlikely. The other thing is Carriel discounting multi. If you buff the Carriel and it keeps discounting things, it's completely broken.
Yes. And especially
Also, is a Knight of Anointment.
I don't mind that because it helps, or at least hopefully was trying to help smooth out the curve, because we're playing Knight on 1, and then we were playing another 1-drop on turn 2. That doesn't feel great. Of course, I'm sure we knew we were going to draw another 1-drop.
I think with the knowledge that this isn't a Libram Paladin, it makes more sense, because we have a bigger luxury of early game minions to choose from. If this had been Libram, we'd probably want like just all the early game minions we could find, since the deck is so heavy.
I don't normally run Authority in Libram. I feel like I've seen it a couple times on ladder, but
I am confused by this pick with the Rogue being left up, because I think it's just completely unwinnable for Paladin. I would have liked to see like a Libram or something. I think Libram has more of a chance against Rogues.
I don't think Libram ever wins against Rogues. I've played a lot of Libram Paladin games and against a lot of Rogues, and I think I only win when
It's
something
pretty
is
bad into every
comically
rogue,
wrong,
to be honest.
for the Rogue.
Well, I've won it before. I've played a decent amount of Libram. I've won it. I don't think Handbuff Paladin is really going to work.
Yeah, I personally don't know.
It's certainly winnable for the Libram, but it's...
Well, I think the bigger issue is, like, sticking a contact is probably too easy for Rogue if there's not, like, Justice and City tax on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There's no secrets or anything to disrupt Rogue from its power turns.
Hand buff is better into Garrote.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not favored, but like 50-50.
Better?
50-50 versus a 30 for Libram. But he could. I mean, if Lotus just plays. I mean, if Lotus plays Quest Rogue, which is a possibility. It's so tough to win either.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised
big
to see
9-9.
Quest Rogue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Donde knows Lotus better than I do and knows that he won't play Garrote Rogue, and that's why he left it up. It'll be some bad road, right?
Who knows? My
We'll see
my
Secret
guess is
Rogue.
it'll probably
Remember
be one,
that.
but who knows?
Job's done.
And the 9/9 does go down here without too much of an issue.
Oh, we're gonna.
It's a lot of missed face damage against a deck that doesn't really heal.
Oh, Pack Mule.
And I think it's also not nothing in terms of resources. I think that's sort of how the Paladin wins this is you just keep playing large minions, and at some point the Demon Hunter clears are pretty mana efficient, but not super card efficient. And if you just keep playing one or two large men every turn, at some point the Demon Hunter runs out of those cards to deal with it.
Well, we did get a discounted Il'gynoth, which is a great start here for Demon Hunter actually finding a way to beat this deck. If you can get a Jace as well, maybe something can happen.
And that's also something sort of difference between hand buff and Libram in this matchup is the hand buff. Both Paladins try and play proactively, but the hand buff really doesn't have as good of reactive tools as Libram Paladin does. There's sort of those situations you'll find yourself in where the opponent plays Il'gynoth, clears off your board,
right?
And you just can't kill it, and it's like, oh, I'm taking 8 for the next 2 turns, and I just don't win here.
Yeah, I think the Il'gynoth could. It's not going to stick when we know this first blade double hand of Vidal is an option, but there's no skull, and that's a problem for Lotus. It's really not good.
And this Tyler 4 Dragon is also a bit of a problem because you either clear it now and then know there's going to be a even bigger minion to deal with next turn, or you.
I don't think you can clear it. That seems crazy to me. He disagrees. Trying to go tempo the Moarg, potentially get a little bit of board control. Pushing 4 damage. 4 damage definitely relevant here, because, again, there's no healing.
Arcanist off the top would put us...
But here we can already see there's only one rush minion, and Donde has to choose whether he wants to kill the 4/3 or the Moarg.
I think you... I don't know about have to, but I think you kill Moarg here.
I think so as well, because then you can get... You don't want to randomly lose to Temple Il'gynoth. Again, no skull. If Demon Hunter was going to win the game, it was going to be with a hand that was better than this.
Yeah.
I think you have to kill the 3/3 because of the threat of the Wind Fury would just be lethal. But it feels kind of bad again.
Still lethal. I mean, you know your opponent has 2 discounted holds.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't know what the spells are, right?
Fair.
Maybe they're like city tax or something.
I don't believe that's a holy spell.
Is it? You're probably right. Okay, what's Libram of Justice? It's secretly Libram.
It's secretly
hand buff
Libram.
Paladin
We're just
the whole time.
running hand buff stuff as well.
It wouldn't be the wildest thing I've ever heard, right? There's some inherent synergy there.
I've certainly seen worse cards in Libram Paladin lists, such as Pandaren Importer.
Can confirm City Tax is not a holy spell.
And also, he played the mule, so
Yeah, the game's broken, but I think Lotus is going to concede here. Hopefully, and we'll get out of this one. Unless there's a skull picked up, and I could be totally wrong.
Guess Magtheridon pickup could also.
Yeah, if you get a 12-12, it actually would have been a big deal. That's probably how you win this matchup, right? There's no justice. There's no way to kill a mag. It
It
just
looks
an
like
extra
there
12.
was a skull.
He got a
pickup.
skull.
I had to
Yeah.
leave and come back. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get important. We didn't get good cards.
Yeah, we
So it's
can't
not gonna matter.
clear, and we can't kill enough to not be dead.
We're one off. We could talented and kill the. We have to. We can't.
We have to double Fell Scream to not die? Oh, no.
Man, we're never gonna win from here.
Actually, as Magtheridon, we could play Mag.
Okay, yeah, Mag's the out.
We're playing for Mag.
Well, there's
not
a Samuro now.
Tan.
Doesn't really. Prismatic Jewel Kit not as great when all of the.
The light protects me.
Oh, so we have to play. We can't get enough minions here to lock Mag out, unfortunately.
Nope.
So nothing really matters, I guess.
Actually, yes.
Wait, yeah,
yes.
we can.
If he plays Catacomb Guard,
Play
he locks
Catacomb Guard.
Mag.
Oh, he could have. Yeah.
Guess that was the play there?
That was the play.
Around Magtheridon?
Lotus is
I-
gonna.
I mean, we actually, again, we lived another turn, guys.
Wow.
Look at this.
Now we can't Mag, but we're
Oh, we just have to draw the Jace, right? Is that ever enough?
it depends how much the Paladin's able to play.
I mean, there's like multiple immolation ores in there, and like there's an I-beam, I think.
I'm the hand of the
I don't know.
king.
Maybe something happens. These minions aren't actually very threatening.
Mm-mm.
If we heal and kill the 5/7, that would probably just be enough.
Well,
But we're not killing the
I think
5/7.
that does it.
Doesn't matter.
There it is.
I have a lot of questions about that Paladin deck, but Paladin into Druid as a class is always going to do well, so we got the job done.
we might get to ask those questions. We are headed into game 5.
We are.
And it's
Again, this Rogue, the big question is, why did we leave Rogue up, and what is this Rogue going to
Time
do?
for the greatest words in Hearthstone.
Yeah. Jar Jar posted in chat, what a crazy high roll to win the 100% matchup. I feel like that's pretty much the perfect description for what that was.
It's not 100% matchup. I believe Ace 103 managed to win from the Face Hunter side against Feldeep. If anyone's gonna do it, it's Ace 103 that can win with that Face Hunter. Yeah, it's gonna be Garrote Rogue up against this hand buff Paladin.
We see a field context, so I think the game's already over. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. The rest of the hand could be 2 Garrotes and a prep.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And we could just never hit a battle cry for like till turn 8. Oh no, we hit Octobot.
Yeah. This looks like a pretty good hand.
The thing is, you've seen the whole Paladin deck, right? You know it has like it can play one rush minion in a turn as its clearing option. So if we just like Divine Shield the field contact, it never dies.
Except to Samuro.
Except, yeah, you're right. Samuro could kill it. But I think we're gonna coin this Octobot, right? Seems good.
I'm not sure.
It can't get killed ever.
It doesn't
If you-
die, but it's the question.
The thing is,
of-
if you coin the Octobot, you can literally play field contact on 2, and nothing can challenge it.
Yeah,
And that's pretty cool. I don't know about you
That's-
guys, but that's pretty cool.
I think that's worth it here. I think people who are used to the old Baron's Miracle Rogue, like you don't want to be coining Octobot that much with this deck. But with this hand in this matchup, yeah, you coin Octobot.
And we see Lotus is allowing the extra card here from Lotus Knight to be discounted.
Yeah, and yeah, you go Contact, Brain Freeze, Og Merchant, and the Paladins can't kill the Contact for at least another turn because Samuro's the only option to answer this. Unless your opponent's, for some reason, running Broom in their hand buff.
Yeah, and I think we saw most of the hand buff deck last game. So, we know that's not the case. Oh, and another Octobot. The hand really didn't need the help, but it got it, you know. I don't know that we want to play the 2 mana for the Octobot, though. We've got better things to do here.
I think you Penflinger, you play the 1 mana Swindle, you play Penflinger again, and then...
I actually want to Shadow Step the Octobot and just discount the hand. I think that feels appropriate.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
We could also Shadow Step the Field Contact.
Yeah, I think
you kind of want to think about
the pattern, right? Is you step the Field Contact, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, this is just a safe line. The Octobot discount was spicy, but just ultimately not necessary in the end. We've already got 16 cards left in the Rogue, and it's going into turn 4. We'll be through half our deck.
Yeah, I think with a hand like this, I imagine the Rogue is going to be winning this game.
Samuro's coming out. Divine Shield is once again going to be quite the barrier. We could see like a Shroud even come out here. Wouldn't be unreasonable. Alongside a Brain Freeze.
Kill a card, yeah. I expect just Octobot, yeah. The Octobot, we Flinger our Octobot. And you can...
I liked the Shroud rather than... The Swindle draws an extra card with Field Contact, but I don't think it's relevant. We can even prep the Shroud right now. Just do that. It's pretty good. I guess you can... There's no sign of any Cult Neophytes, so it doesn't need to happen this turn, maybe.
You don't need to, and we haven't played any Plunderers yet, so I think maybe we're probably going to get a Prize Plunderer next turn, and it might be relevant to get 2 extra cards.
I think the next turn is going to be Prep Shroud, Brain Freeze, Passage. We'll see what he does. I think you have to make the big Blessing minion and hope it kind of gets there. You could play the Overlord, but it's a little slow. I guess the Blessing is too vulnerable to Brain Freeze. You've already seen one of them. You kind of need to hope they don't have it, maybe. If you Blessing and then you draw the Wind Fury, he's not dead. It's not even good enough. So maybe you don't. Yeah.
Goes for the run deck. Yeah, this turn is the question of, is it better to play the Contact and go from there, or is it better to Passage and go from there?
Well, I do like using the... I think we've got a free Contact, so we can literally kill him on turn 6 if we just prep the... Get through our deck, you know, prep the... Okay.
Stick to the shadows.
I guess AI is better.
Yeah.
And just Brain Freeze the...
So I expect we're probably going to see the Passage next turn from Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully setting up for a kill the turn after.
I think you could have set up like a turn... You could have maybe gone for a turn 6 lethal here, but you didn't need to, I guess, is the question, right?
Without... We've played both Octobots already, right? I don't think you can do it consistently without another Octobot.
Well, you don't need the full... If you just literally play every card and you save the Garrote till your deck's empty, I think it's okay for them to just do 8, right? If the first Garrote only does 8, you like draw them all with no spell damage. It only does 8. It's still fine because the second one you can make really good, right? Well, we can even... We don't even need to do the Octobot or the Contact on the kill turn with this.
We can just use Arcane Intellect.
Right.
Ice Splendor is only doing 2.
I think you use Penflinger on the... Okay.
you can use the other one to do
We're
5.
going for board damage, I guess.
I think we're just emptying out our deck to set up the confirmed lethal on the next turn. Because yeah, we can
I guess with the fireball, we always get there. We know they don't have any heal cards.
Or we only need 1 spell.
Feels a little
damage.
silly. I'm not really sure about this.
Prep the shroud here.
The AI is... why were we playing AI? That was our kill condition, right? Well...
I mean, we have second contact.
Yeah, you're right. We don't need the... I just thought the AI was a little cleaner.
This is confirmed lethal next turn. Unless
the issue is we don't have stuff to play the spell damage on if he kills all the 2 healths. But he probably can't.
1 spell damage, though, because the Garrotes will do 24 with 1 spell damage. So next time you just go field contact.
Yeah.
On Merchant,
he's so
0
dead.
cards in deck.
This is one of those games where you had like 20 paths to victory, right?
Yes. And yeah, I think that's the thing with Garrote Rogue is when things go well, you have the 20 paths to victory. And then sometimes you get those games where only one of those paths wins the game. And that's sort of what makes the deck so skill testing is you have to, in a lot of ways, know all 20 of those paths so you know which ones you need to take sometimes. But yeah, this is just guaranteed lethal. I assume Lotus sees it.
You're paying for my discretion.
You can even BM if we want to get extra spell damage. Just prep.
Yeah, we have to make sure to use the prep. That's the only way to mess this one up at this point. If you play the spells and you don't have a battle cry because you played the spells.
We have enough damage. I think
you think you could probably just win with the 16 damage. Yeah.
Yeah. Play Secret Passage and play the bleeds from hand. Yeah, we would have had exactly enough. We could play the 0 mana Secret Passage and just play 2 bleeds, and it would still be lethal.
Yeah.
But this was easy.
Yeah. Well done to Lotus. We've got some questions about the Rogue being left up, but ultimately the Rogue only won 1 game, so
yeah,
clearly not as much. It didn't sweep.
If it's so good, it only won 1 game. Hopefully we can get Lotus in here for an interview.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess we can have both players in if they both want to come in. Otherwise, we'll just have Lotus.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll poke fun at Donde a little bit for the ban, but he's welcome to join us.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Donde just needs his headset, and then I will add both players in at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I was reading the chat there I have with them. And Donde agrees that the early contact and the bounce that there was no chance after that. Yeah. So I mean, it was
the thing is, like, it literally beat all of his decks, right? The contact rogue.
I guess I don't really know.
I don't
know matchups by heart for Garrote Rogue just because I don't really have to play it a lot. Or I don't play against it a lot. I should know them as someone who's trying to learn the deck, but yeah.
I think Warlock can be really tough if you're not super comfortable on Rogue because the Cult Neophytes and the racing make things really weird.
Yeah.
I think Glide Demon Hunter is incredibly hard to play well.
It is, yeah.
I think Control Warriors also you have to really do a lot of planning in that matchup, but it's also can be tough for that reason.
Well, also decks like Druid and Hunter, where you really have to divert from the normal game plan, can be very skill testing with Garrote.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Like the advice I got from Justin was like against Druid, you just play Aug Merchant turn 1, because against both types of druid, you're either trying to sort of zerg out on board to beat Anacontra, where it lets you answer watch posts and such from token druid.
Yeah.
I usually, if it's alignment, if I know it's alignment, I usually like to save Octobot and try and Shadow Steps, and you can try and combo them for like literally your entire deck being free on
you
2 mana.
play the Octobot going into their alignment, and you're also needing to save Cult Neophytes going into alignment.
No, I save it. I play it after alignment. It's better there because unless you think they have like a rush deck, right? It depends if you know their list. But then you can have your whole hand free going into your turn 2. And usually it's not a deck that kills you immediately, right? Like they make a big board, and then you can get a lethal on 2 mana. It's pretty hard to do it that way, though. It's like not the easy way, you know.
I've usually found the more reliable way to win that one is to just try and flood the board early, play Neophyte when they're trying to play alignment or after they play alignment, and just win on board.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you play alignment, it's like time warp after they Neophyte. If they alignment, it's like a time warp on them, so that works pretty well.
Heyo.
Hello.
Hey,
welcome. I was wondering why I couldn't add Lotus to the call until I realized he's already here.
I'm in every call.
Okay, cool.
Congratulations to Lotus, and congratulations on getting those 2 points, Donde.
Yes, thank you for the consolation prize.
I thought
Better
Donde
than
had this
0.
one. I was so scared this match.
Oh, really? I made a bet with chat. I said I'd gift a sub if Donde didn't ban Rogue because it made no sense for me to leave it up in my mind.
Yes.
And I had to gift a sub.
I'm here for the people. I didn't know that, but I think that in the back of my mind, I thought, well, there's a way that I can bum some extra cash for THL here, so let's do a Druid ban.
I mean, to be fair, Druid was good into most of your decks as well. So.
Yeah, I had Justin and I spent a long time thinking how much would Donde mind game me. We had the first order idea of Donde was going to ban my Rogue because it's the most intuitive ban. It's probably the best class right now, and
agreed.
It just makes a lot of sense to ban it. And then there was the second line of last week Donde banned Druid. Druid is always okay as a ban, and it could make sense with the strategy.
It's so tilting in Hero because it can be like you can't really prepare for both of them very well unless you have control decks.
No, you cannot.
Like you need Control Priest or Control Warrior or Libram Paladin those are the only things I can think of that beat both of them. So
yeah, it makes it very
Warlock,
complicated.
Actually. Yeah, Warlock does too.
But then you open yourself against Mage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you bring any control, yeah, they're like completely free games. And there was actually in the end, my final thought was actually that Donde was going to do the full mind game and ban Demon Hunter and bring the weirdest lineup to target, like just to get his hunter through to win. So I spent a long time going with these mind games with Justin until we realized, this is probably the optimal plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the matches did go around how I would expect. Other than the double encounter slow, that was just pure ability.
Not ideal for me. No, I was like, cool, I got encounters flow, but that's not as good as 2 encounters flows.
Yeah, just gotta discover one. That's all.
I mean, Flow is Heat Shock is here, so he can say this as well. Flow is still quite broken, I think.
Yeah, the card is so broken that you literally can't play the Mage class without it.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that before, but it turns out it's still fine at 3. It just changed very little.
Wait, Heat Shock, what do you mean? You were saying Ping Mage was a real deck. Now you're saying you have to play Flow?
Well, in Conquest you can sometimes do, or LHS you can sometimes do something with it, but it's not really a real deck. You know, it's like a counter deck.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it was a good match, though. Facing Donde is always tough, because Donde is a good player. I still think Donde is super underrated.
Mm-hmm. For what it's worth, I think that this match between 2 seeds was like better played than the match with 1 seeds before this. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
See,
you're welcome. It's pretty clean, I thought. So.
Oh, good. I know Justin is going to tell me like the 30 different ways I made mistakes, but I welcome it. I'm always looking to improve. Please tell me how I did everything wrong.
No, I think like generally, I didn't think anyone did anything that was just stupid or anything like that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So,
well, I guess I would like to ask you guys, because I was really stuck in that last game when I drew the Blessing of Authority and I had run back in hand, and I was like, well, I think my only way to win is to stick Jumbo Minion and hope it lives for 2 turns somehow, or I draw into my Battle Master, which didn't happen obviously. But like, would you have played the Runthack, or would you have just straight up buffed?
I looked at the buff and I saw, well, even if we draw the Wind Fury, we're not actually killing him on 6, so maybe we don't do it. And that was kind of what I decided on.
Yeah,
unless you had like an actual
had
weapon
to stick it
in the deck or something, you had to just probably play multiple minions, or the Brain Freeze gets you. So.
Okay, yeah, that was a. I don't think it made a difference in the game, particularly because the early Octo into Contact was brutal, and then he bounced it when I had Samuro in hand. It would have killed the whole board, and I was like, oh, this would be great, but no, of course not.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, if you play Samuro, it's the only chance this game, like, it looked really good for me, and I'm like, how much do I lose if I just Shadow Step the Field Contact on turn 3? It really felt correct, and it turns out it was, but
it was game winning for sure. Yeah,
I was actually looking at. I think in that game, I probably wouldn't have thought about Samuro as much as I would have just Shadow Stepped the Octobot, and then like kept drawing and just discounted like a million more cards. But yeah, it's definitely Shadow Stepping. You played it really safe, and I think that matchup's really good.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, if it would have been different in a different matchup for sure.
Yeah. Can I go back in time and play Heat Shock instead?
I wonder if some. I don't know. It's hard to really look back and be like, oh, we could have done. I was wondering if the Samuro would have been good to save for later, but I guess that's kind of your best opportunity there, because didn't you have a buffed Rin First Blade there?
I did,
but you can't kill the 3/2. Like, you need to kill the field.
Once the Field Contact got stepped.
It was a 1/3 and 2/2 that you killed with the Samuro. It wasn't really the nuts, but you didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah, I could have played the First Blade and taken out one of the minions. Definitely was an option there. Yeah. I mean, hindsight on it, obviously.
Sure, of course.
But I think either way, by the time he played the Field Contact the second time, the damage was done.
It was done. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was ripping 6-7 draws that turn.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I think I would have just died a different way, unfortunately. But yeah,
it did feel like your lineup didn't actually have a favorable into the Garrote Rogue. Do you have a plan for it, really?
Hand buff was a 50-50, but that was really
I looked at the it's like 65 for the Rogue.
Oh, okay, well that's top 1,000. You're right. I'm not looking top 1,000. Right.
Yeah. So Face Hunter's positive against it just because you can get in under it, and also my Druid.
Yeah, but the Druid was not going to be played.
I think Face Hunter might be 50-50, but yeah, it depends. Like at top 100, I think it crushes Face Hunter, like probably 60%. At 2,000, if they're not a rogue main, they might be a 2,000 level rogue player, and then Face Hunter probably steamrolls, right? It's like the most skill testing thing we've ever seen, in that it gets like 15% in matchups when you go up 3,000 ranks.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous what the deck can do in general. It's just learning how to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would not say I'm a specialist on it, but I'm working on it. Like, I feel like at one point I will be okay with it.
Yeah. I know Justin is really, really good with the deck, so I'd imagine having him pour over your replays and list the 7 different lines on every single turn helps with learning it. I know I learned a lot just playing a few games with him.
Neji's really good with that, and he's been just trying to teach me the basics of the deck.
It's definitely not an autopilot deck. Like, there are decks right now that you can just pick the first time and do well with. That's not the case with this one. I wouldn't. There are even more complicated decks I would say you can do fine the first time. I would not include this one. Like most paladins are pretty easy. Paladin in general, I feel like it's not that complicated of a class.
Unfortunately, like I don't feel like I've ever been on the other side of the board against a person who's bad at playing it, because Lotus, obviously, I feel like you know what you're doing with it. And I played like against Nails with like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, I know you know what you're doing with it. I'm not. Yeah. So it's like everybody I played in THL is extremely competent and feels like if they're going to bring it, they're going to know how to play it. And then I go on ladder, and it seems like every time I run into it, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I guess, ultimately against some of the I guess like the hardest thing to do is to learn how to overcome when somebody does draw either the nuts or like close to it, and how do you navigate your matchup from there? And I just feel like I roll over, unfortunately, a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Octobot and Field Contact are still two of the strongest cards in the game. And
I think it's definitely a deck where when they draw the nuts, depending on the deck you're playing, there's really not much. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like against Mage. I had a game a little while back in Legacy where I was running like a full 4-post double robes lineup, and Mage opponent plays 3 flows by turn 5, and then quest reward on like turn 7 and kills me same turn. And it's like, well, when your opponent hits
was that Legacy or Hero?
Legacy.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you mentioned that. You might have mentioned that in Hero channel potentially.
I'm looking at the mulligan win rate stats right now for Garrote Rogue on HS Replay, by the way. They're definitely broken because every card has a lower mulligan win rate than the Dex win rate.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting. Like Field Contact and Octobot are the best, but they're still lower than the Dex win rate, so something's wrong,
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's a draw deck, right? Like, so mulligan isn't. It's important, but it can be kind of overcome with getting a couple draw cards.
Well, I think
it's more important. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I think there's that like 1 in 8 game where the Octobots like don't show up, or the Field Contacts are bottom 10 that like you just lose automatically.
Yeah.
So I would have think that 10% is reflected in the stats.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you really want like a lot of the time it's not a hard mulligan, but it's a pretty strong mulligan for Octobot and Field Contact. And having at least one of them, having both of them, I'm sure your chances are already ridiculously high. But having one of them significantly improves your game plan in so many aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, though, this is still the beginning of the week, and Bolner Jams versus At Diamond is going to be a crazy match.
Yeah, we have Big Ted is playing his match right now as well, so there will be more info to come tonight as far as the score is concerned.
Cool.
I think there are 3 of them tonight, right?
Infall plays even later. Yeah, he doesn't start for another hour.
Yeah, Infall played. Diamond was like, Diamond was like, we're playing at 8 p.m. I was like, that's too late. That's too late. Yeah. That's too late for stream. Sorry.
I mean, Feast just pull the quadruple duty, get a surprise match right now, and then go into a 4th match. You can do it. Come on.
No. I have work stuff to do after this. I have work to finish up. So
I feel you.
Same.
Looking at it, seems like At Diamond has higher PRs, has the higher PRs across the board, pretty much, right? That's got to feel pretty tough for you guys, Donde.
Besides Infall and Diamond are very close, but in PR, and 4 or 5
anything can happen.
And Justin and Ron are technically both 550. So
yeah, I think obviously the PR is one of the main gauges we have to look at, like a predicting factor in how matches will go, and there are exceptions to that rule, obviously, when we know players that have been around for a while and maybe better or worse than their PR indicates. So like I look at someone like Big Ted, who's 3-5 this season, he's 382. Like I think he's been a hero specialist like his whole life. So that's, to me, like I throw the record out when it comes to Ted. I throw the PR out. So like even though he's like a little bit under PR compared to Mick, I feel fine about his chances. I feel fine about the team as a whole, and I do like the fact that we're a little bit under the PR cap, so maybe we bring it back next season.
That'd be pretty
run
good
back the team. Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So I think PR is definitely a good a good baseline to indicate what might go on. But there's so many other factors when it comes into predicting.
Yeah.
And I trust everybody on this team. I know everyone's doing their prep. So yeah, like Lotus said, it should be a good match.
And you're talking about Ted being like in the 3 seed. It seems like what? He's so good. But then you also have Mick in the 3 seed.
Yes.
So it's like
it cuts both ways for sure. Yeah, other teams are broken too. It's not like we're the only one in my mind.
No,
and obviously at Diamond is in first place, so they're doing something right.
I will say though, I'm really happy that there are strong teams now that are not doing the strategy of just getting someone from outside THL, whose PR difference is very low, and just a lot of teams that are doing really strong with in-house names.
Yeah.
And I think that's nice. It's not all about optimizing PR. It's more about playing together, improving together.
Yeah.
And that's always good. At least that's what I came to THL for.
Yeah. For sure.
I think it'd be hard to find a new 300 PR player who can keep up with the 3 and 4 seeds, honestly. At this point, too. Like,
Uranium did that last season. He was playing exceptionally well.
Yeah.
There's exceptions for sure, but it's tough.
First season in Hero, so I came in 340.
You did, yeah. You've gained. Yeah, you're about 50-50 because you're 5 and 4, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tanked my first 2 seasons.
You would be better than 340 now, right now? Like you've improved.
Oh yeah.
I was. If I registered a month after I registered, I would have entered 500. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's like super. I think it's super deflated right now. But
yeah.
You can definitely find those sneaky steals in the new players. So
yes,
exciting to see that. But yeah, it's definitely an exciting week. I mean, wish we could have all these matches on stream, but
right.
We'll probably get some more in the playoffs. Looking at how these teams have been doing.
I know I never say this, but play on stream, everyone. It's fun, and you get to have really good players comment your plays, and you get to have fun with Donde for facing Donde, which is always a plus.
Well, I mean, I'm glad somebody had fun.
You had fun as well. We were both super tense the whole match.
No, it was a great series, and regardless of the outcome, I'm happy to get 2 points, obviously against a player like you. That's an accomplishment in itself. So definitely a good series, Lotus.
Yeah, and I'm really happy every time we play. So can't complain
you win.
at all. I think you beat me the first time. I don't remember now.
What was that, like 2019?
That was probably when I was the 3
Was that
seed
before we were in lockdown? Like,
oh yeah, it was definitely before COVID.
Gosh.
I think the last 2 times I won, I don't know. I know last time I won and this time I won, but I don't know before that. But I think I lost once. And I lost on ladder to you once, I remember that.
Yeah, that's woo.
But always happy for a rematch. And I know we'll be facing each other in playoffs or sometime, hopefully.
Well, I'm confident you guys get there. I'm hoping that we get there as well. Still 2 weeks to play after this too, which is a long hero season. So
the Dreams are in a decent position now. It really depends on how much ground. APM and Dad Legend are gonna have to cover some ground in the next couple of weeks.
We took a little bit of a beating 2 weeks ago, unfortunately.
Yeah, you guys did.
I mean, granted, Bands is doing that to everybody lately, so it's not
this week, but other than
that,
yes.
I would say they got Dad Legend 20-4 last week. So
they did, yeah. Did they actually double 20?
They dunked both weeks, yeah.
Well, so the bad news for Boulder Jams is you have to play F2L next week.
Ooh.
Yes, I get to play Quaz.
Do I get to play Itachi again?
You play Itachi, yeah.
Because I played him in Legacy a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I forget what happened.
I did not win.
Oh, okay. That might have been his.
He's my blood rival.
That might have been his. That might have been his first.
That
might have been his first win on the season.
It was that made its
stream.
name twice.
Okay,
yeah, it was
cool.
like a cut in the wound that was already open. I was
no,
no.
I know he's been struggling really hard in Legacy. So obviously it was nice to see him get a win as his teammate. Like I didn't even know who he was. I forgot who he was even playing that week. But it's okay. I lost to Ted, so.
Mm-hmm.
That was Ted's only win on the season so far.
Ted got a win in Legacy tonight. So
yes!
So there it is.
Yay, 2 wins for Ted. Let's go. Yeah. But I think that's going to wrap this up. I mean, really great interview conversation. Always love having both of you on for matches and just being in content with both of you. And Owl and Heat Shock, thanks so much for casting. It's always a blast. So yeah, thank you everybody in chat for watching and chatting. It's always fantastic to see what everybody has to say in the chat. And tomorrow, I believe tomorrow we have Friday Night Fights. We're gonna have, I believe we have a full house, an 8 and a 9 and a 10 p.m. The 9 p.m. will be the first Battlegrounds lobby for the second week of finals.
Go Don Dave.
So yes, we got Don Dave representing Don Dave on one of these 2 lobbies, and Owl
go crafty monkeys.
And then Owl will be representing his team in one of the 2 lobbies.
I'm gonna call
as well.
Risky Refresh. Risky Refresh is taking this one.
Yeah.
Go Steffi.
It would be great. And then Agent, who played in our first game, is on Concede Your Match. So we'll have a really good two sets of Battlegrounds. That starts tomorrow night, so come back for that. That'll be Saku and Corridon, very likely. Yeah. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Later.